Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's the trade of the day, Monday afternoon Zoom edition. We've had a delightful pump from Bitcoin, 4.5% today, looking good. Let's check. Let's go to the chart. Those of you in shorts, including me, I'm in shorts at my chair and shorts and in trading. This is not good, but for longer term positions and people in long swing trades, good stuff. This is what I'm talking about. We're going to close any minute. Well above 29K. We've been stuck at this 28.5 level. I drew this orange line for about 2 weeks. Nothing was closing above it. And then we're blasting through today, and the market close is probably an hour from now. So it's a pretty good chance that's going to hold above 29K. And then 32 is what I see for the next resistance, and that's back from May of last year. We had a couple hits on 32K. So but 30,000 is a psychological barrier. Wouldn't surprise me if we struggled a while to get above that, but who knows? Might blast through tonight for all we know. I don't know if there's anything in particular newsworthy. I was looking at some of the headlines earlier, and nothing really jumped out at me. These are the Bitcoin headlines from TradingView. It's mostly what I look at. The email service I subscribe to didn't have anything today. That was kind of annoying, so I'm not as well informed as usual. So it's mostly people analyzing, charts and things like that, but I'm not really seeing a newsworthy event pushing things up. Maybe it was just hanging around at that 28.5 level. Had to go one way or the other. I could draw structure of some kind, a pennant or whatever they're called. I don't use them that much, obviously. And usually in those situations, it's going to pump one way or the other when it hits when it closes. Guess I could maybe show one of those. Yeah, where's got a kind of a pennant right about here. And then, kind of going straight across here. Probably move that one up here. And when it hits this, where they converge, draw this one if I'm going to use the wicks. Yeah, so usually when it gets close to these where they come together, you get a big move up or a big move down. I don't think that's always real useful. Yeah, we know it's going to go up or down. It just stops going sideways is usually how that works. 60% of the time or so. So I'm open to any other explanations for why we have this nice pump in Bitcoin. Anyone else have a theory?
What about the idea that it's been a long weekend of no trading and everyone's got itchy fingers?
That's as valid as any other, I suppose. Yeah, because the market didn't do much at all from Friday through Sunday. I looked around a little bit on Sunday night, not much was happening. So
the Shanghai update.
that's coming up in a couple days. So this might be pricing
I think
that
the
in.
boost is from now.
I thought that would price in sooner. And what Tama's talking about is the Ethereum Shanghai update. I think that has something to do with the release of staked Ethereum tokens. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it's part of the proof of work.
Yeah, the transition from proof of work to proof of stake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's in the mix. And people who staked Ethereum 2.0,
Say something.
a couple years ago are finally getting those tokens back. So the theory is they're going to dump a bunch of them, but I would think that would cause the market to go down, not up. Well, let's look at Ethereum. It affect that more than Bitcoin. So, it's trending up nicely. We're getting close to
Not
that
as much though.
1980 level. Yeah, so that's a good point.
They might be taking it out of Ethereum and putting it into Bitcoin.
Could be something like that. So We're all speculating. It's all good. Any other questions or comments on market overall before we get over to Altcoin Alert and iCoinPro, see if we can find some trades? Very well. Let's look at Altcoin Alert first. And I'm on the altcoin radar. I've got multiple columns of information by which to sort. I always start with the AA score. So I'll click on this, get an update. And I've got BNT, the highest is 78.9. I'm usually looking for values 80 and higher. Altcoin Alert tells us that those have, like this Bancor has a 78.9% chance of going up 3% or more over the next 48 to 72 hours. Those over 80, that's been adjusted. That those over 80 have an 80% chance of going up the same amount. I'm sort of sticking with my older interpretation. It's not much of a difference anyway. So when I see something like this, I usually choose one from this sort, and 78.9 is pretty close to 80. So I was looking at something else earlier today, but it really dropped. I don't even see it here anymore. So which one was I looking at?
When you said you're going with your older interpretation, is that because of a conversation you had or heard with Pizza?
A little bit of laziness, but no, he's the one who updated what I just told you, that
Okay.
he was stressing the 80 or higher. But a lot of times we don't see 80 or higher, so I still like to use those values, and that's how I think of them.
Okay.
But yeah, thanks for that question. So these are the ones I was looking at this morning. AA score purchase ENJ was way up there, about 78.9, but I think that one's dropped quite a bit, so I won't be using that one. Let's just look at Bancor BNT. This one trades on Binance and Bybit, I believe. I used to have it here. Maybe it got kicked off. Okay, it's on Binance. It's on Bybit Spot. Don't see it on Binance or Bybit Perpetual. Maybe that's the one it's not with us anymore. Okay, well, let's look at the spot chart, 5-minute chart. And you can see I've changed my setup. I'm using my 1, 2, 3 dip pump layout. Save this. I'm going to share this and let you guys have this link if you want. I have to stop my share to share it though, so I'll do that real quick. All right. So there's it's in the chat if you guys want to grab it. Okay, so what I've got here is the usual Bollinger Bands and candles that you're used to seeing. My Bollinger Band is a 50 length instead of a 20. Otherwise, it's the same. I've got an RSI here. I left the inputs the same. I changed some of the emphasis style-wise, but you guys can do your own thing with that. I got your basic MACD here. I did change some of these values. I dropped it from, can't remember what that was. I've got 10 and 22. It was a little higher than that. So 12 and 26 is the usual amount. And I changed the style a little bit too. Look at that in a moment, STX. Okay, so my goal with this is to go to the 15-minute chart and put an alert on the RSI. I'll show you that in a minute. But for now, we're on the 5-minute chart. I don't see a good entry at the moment. It is trending up as far as looking for a dip. I mean, this would have been a good entry down here. But there were multiple dips in the sequence. There's about a 7 or 8 dipper here before it started to pump up again. So seeing some support down here on 52 cents. If you want to set a price alert like this, right click, add alert. And I usually use the information source for my alert name. This would be AA score. And that's how you do that. There's some more support here. 52.7. It's kind of stair stepping on the way up. So there's lots of different areas of support. You could put alerts on any of those and get a better entry. On the 15-minute chart for our indicator alerts, I'm going to show you something a little different. I talked about this maybe once before, but I started using indicator alerts on the RSI on the 15-minute chart. When I first started doing this helped me catch 1, 2, 3 dips. And at first I would just put an alert here for when it dropped below this 20 or this 30 value. Below 30 on the RSI, it's considered oversold. Usually when that happens, it's due for a recovery. But I found I had better results when the dip came below and then came back up and crossed back up. Now the entry on the 5-minute chart won't be as good as actually eyeballing the 1, 2, 3 dip, but it's pretty close. And I'll show you that in a moment. So how you do an alert on this, and you can, especially if you have limitations on your alert, we're going to do, instead of crossing, we're going to do exiting a channel. We're going to create a channel between the 70, which is the overbought area, and the 30, which is the oversold. So we're going to click that. We're going to put 70 on the top, 30 on the bottom, once per bar close. And that's our AA score. So if you're trading leverage and you want to catch a pump that's about to drop, you would be interested in this value. If you're trading spot and you're only trading the up direction, then you're only going to you can just use a basic RSI alert. You won't need this channel. But for those of you trading both directions, like I like to do, these are the alerts I've set today. So I click OK, and you can see it creates this channel here. So when this drops, you won't hear an alert, but when it crosses back up, that's when the alert's going to trigger. So that would happen at 9:15 this morning Pacific time. As you can see, we've got a nice move up, for over almost 5% when that came down. And then when this one came up and then came down, kind of got faked out, you might have gotten in here, gone against you, and then it comes down. So both of those alerts would have worked eventually. And actually I meant to look this up, but I didn't get to it. Let's look at the 5-minute chart when this crossed. So that's at 9:15 this morning. Right about here, put a indicator there, 9:15. So that crosses here. So we get this dip, and then you get a show of strength. At least it comes up a little bit and goes sideways. It's not a perfect example, but had you gotten in here, eventually it would have been a pretty good trade. Comes up almost 4% on the 5-minute chart. Ideally, we would have gotten in over here, something like this or this, but again, I haven't yet found an alert that just does the 1, 2, 3 dip. So, but I can do that alert that that shows up after and shows up when the coin is starting to recover. Get rid of that. And then if you go over to your 5-minute chart and it's looking kind of weird, it's going sideways or whatever, look at your MACD and see if you have some confirmation. Don't really have confirmation here. It's about 9:40. So But again, get in there and you get a pretty good trade, 3%. So this is a strategy I was doing today, kind of getting back to basics on BNT. Any questions about this setup or this alert approach? Oh, I did want to show you one more thing. Peter, I can't remember. Nathan was asking about customizing these. So my go-to is usually the 3 notes reverb, but since this is, and that's what's on my divergence and a supertrend that I usually talk about. But today I've got a different sound, chirpy. So this is the one that's going off when one of these alerts goes off. So you go to the notifications and you just click that sound option. Okay, any questions on BNT or the 15-minute setup or this RSI channel approach? All right, let's try it on some others then. Okay, let's do our social activity sort. And I'm looking for fire on both of them. And then sometimes if I'm looking for something to short, I'll look for poop and thumbs down on both of them. I had one of these I was following today, Render. Yeah. Render wasn't poopy enough because it went up too much. Probably got pulled up by Bitcoin, but I'm still in this short from this morning. But since most of you guys are trading spot, let's go, let's go with try to get the fire emojis. NKN, mask, that's a thumbs down on trading activity. But when they match up on both social, which is the Twitter data, you can hover over this question mark and get more info on that. Trading activity talks about volume. So that's a technical indicator. And we've got Bella Protocol and NKN and not mask. Let's look at NKN. I don't have it on my list. Binance and KuCoin. BitGet. All right. Okay, we will just look at this as a spot trade, and I'll show you the RSI alert a little differently. All right, so we're currently drifting down and super squeezy. Yeah, less than 2% between the Bollinger Bands. That's one of my least favorite setups to trade. So you could set an alert here. I'm seeing some support right around 13.3 cents. We're pretty close to that now. So yeah, I'm not sure even where you would, I would go with the indicator alert on this because we're down pretty low already. So on the 15-minute chart, before we were using an RSI alert with a structure, and in this situation, on the 15-minute chart, I want it to drop below the 30 value, which is considered oversold, and then come back up, cross back up, and that gives me an idea that it's dipped and it's coming back. So add an alert on the RSI. So instead of choosing this entering channel option, I'm going to have it crossing up. My value is going to be 30. Once per bar close. And that is social activity. And you click create, which I will do for the moment to illustrate this. And you get this line here. So if this value drops below this and then crosses back up, that alert should go off on the 15-minute chart. Then you can go over to your 5-minute and see if you're in a 1, 2, 3 dip sequence or approaching one, or if you like the setup, go for it. but this is not a leverage token, so I'm not going to take this alert. Okay, any questions on the RSI setup in one direction, or NKN, or the social activity sort? Okay, let's look at another altcoin alert sort. We've looked at the one I actually use the most is this long-term sentiment sort. And again, this is a comparison of Twitter data. And then the Elder Impulse, I like to match it up with that, which is a technical indicator. Like I said on the social activity sort. You know, when you match that up with trading activity, these are pretty similar. Just think this is a little bit more involved and there's more going on with it. We've had more success with it. So we've got Band, which is very bullish on long-term sentiment and bullish on Elder Impulse. Let's go ahead and check that one out. Okay, on the 5-minute chart, got some support here around $1.93. We're pretty close to that now. Some more support here, about $1.89. So those are potential areas of a price alert. On our 15-minute, you can see I've got the alert. I set an alert on this earlier today. I think I traded it once or twice. But you can see here, it comes down, shoots back up. This happened on Sunday and had a really nice move up. This comes up and then drops down here, but doesn't work out that well. I do think the strategy works better on longs than it does on shorts. So I've already got this alert set. Let's take a quick look at it. Yeah, I've got the upper channel on 70, the lower on 30, once per bar close. And I'm testing a new setup on that third-party software I mentioned earlier. And on my notifications, I'm using the chirpy sound, which is different than my usual 3 notes reverb sound. So. Okay, that's how you do that. Any questions on Band? Okay. Let's do, I do want to look at, and this is another one I've been using lately. I hadn't used this in quite a while, but with some of the action we've had to the upside, this 1 hour projected range has potential, but not at the moment. I'm looking for values of this average here, usually 3%, 3 or 4% or higher, and we don't have anything like that. But and I can also look for something to short. Negative 3 or 4% would be better. I don't see anything like that either. But that's another sort I use from time to time. It just doesn't really have anything useful at the moment. And then another one I use once in a while is this 24-hour change just to see what's hot. I mean, you don't really need Altcoin Alert for this. You can find this on CoinGecko and many other free info services. But this CFX and Render, INJ, these are the hottest tokens. And then you can look for stinkers too. You can short it the opposite, or sort it the opposite way. It'll show you what's taking a beating today. Okay. That is another alert of mine going off. Negative divergence on ENJ. Well, really not talking about divergence and supertrend today. So, well, I'll look at it real quick. Let's look at. So this isn't an event or an alert from earlier today. Let's get on the 15-minute chart. So if you're interested in ENJ, this one's been moving today. On the short side, these did pretty well on Sunday. And then this one here, yeah, not really, can't really tell on the shorts on these yet. The longs eventually did well. There's a bunch of bullish divergences that went off here, but they didn't really do much. Actually, they've essentially broken even. These two earlier ones did well from Saturday, but the rest of them not so much. So I probably wouldn't use divergence on this. The past results aren't that good. Supertrend has done really well. This one went off Sunday morning, and got 2.5%. The sell went off later that evening, 3%. And this buy went off this morning, and it's up about 1.6. So those are all pretty decent day trades. That's my quick review, the super trend and divergence. I'm using this on one strategy on a small account, and then I'm using the 1, 2, 3 dip and pump on a practice account. All right, let's go over to any questions on Altcoin Alert before we head over to iCoinPro. Okay. iCoinPro, home of the 1, 2, 3 dip. It has training regarding that and a couple information sources that I like to use, the RSI SPY and the Buddy Coin Crawler. We'll look at the RSI SPY first. I'm going to sort it. Looking for longs, and these are coins that have dropped below the 30 value. I'm not necessarily, they haven't come back up yet, but they've dropped below, so they're due for a comeback. The downside of this is it includes Bitcoin pairs, which I don't trade. So if you like Bitcoin pairs, this can be a good tool for that. Otherwise, I usually scroll down and look for some USDT pairs. The closest we have to 30 is this one here, Eternity, ERN. I've never traded this. And then we already looked at BNT. Now we're getting in the 40s. So this tool on the long side isn't very useful at the moment. I can sort it the other way. For those of you trading leverage, you can look for coins that have pumped today and could be due for a reversal, short trade. And there's a bunch of those, Jasmy, Render, even Bitcoin is up in this list. So I don't always necessarily trade the direction that this is indicating, but this just tells me what's moving, what's in play. So with this information, I would probably set alerts on Jasmy and Render. I do have an alert on Render from this morning. So we'll look at Jasmy now, since I already got that one. It's got this handy drop-down menu. I don't view this as a competitor of Altcoin Alert. They can work together. You can take the information from Altcoin Alert and use iCoinPro strategies. And then you have the additional information source with iCoinPro. I use them both. Okay, Jasmy on the 5-minute chart is pumping. Yeah, big bubble going up. Yeah, we're way too late for this. We might be able to start to do some springtime and summertime squeeze trades. That's generally speaking when something pumps above, then drops to the SMA line, and you wait for it to make a move up, you get back in, and boom. So that only really works well in a pumping market. Okay, so for a price alert, seeing support right here around 0.6 cents. Again here at about 0.584. And again here about 0.57. So those are potential areas of support. On the 15-minute chart, we've got a break of the overbought area, has not come back down yet. So this could be one to short when it breaks down below the 70 value. A bigger correction would take it down here. It has not broken below the 30 in quite a while. Looks like it just kind of nudged here on Friday at around midnight. So this one's been pumping. May not be the best option for a long trader. What was the other one that was on that list? Render. Let's look at that one real quick. That looks nearly identical. Sure if this went low enough. Open, would you? Yeah, it dropped here on Saturday, late morning, and then made a big move up. So that would have been a really good entry. So if you want to trade this both directions, this drop wasn't bad. Came down about 1%. I don't know if I'd short this at the moment. This one came down right about here. 1.5%. That's a pretty good short. So, okay. Well, let's set up that alert. Right click on here. We're going to go with the entering the channel. 70 here. 30 here. Once per bar close. That's my RSI SPY. Click create. And you can see that rectangle here. So when it drops, when it goes up and then drops back in, that's when your alert will go off. Any questions on render? Okay. The other tool that I like that iCoinPro has, actually while we're here, let's look at the fear and greed index real quick. We've got greed, woohoo, 61. All right, Buddy Coin Crawler. And this is named after the concept of the buddy coins. People in this community choose 3 or 4 coins they follow throughout the day, hence the term buddy coin crawler. So this information source will tell you, if you sort by this column here, the average low to the SMA. The low is the 24-hour low. The SMA is the value on the SMA line that you see between the Bollinger Bands on my charts. And I'm looking for usually 4 or 5% or higher. Bancor's in here again. Most of these I haven't heard of. Venus I've traded before, so we can look at that one. 5.3%. Okay, chart comes up. 5 minutes. And this one was dropping and now kind of going sideways at the moment. And we've got support right here for a price alert. 645, we're pretty close to that already. So if you want to use price alerts and you don't see a really good place for support, you go to a larger time frame. You can set your alert that's like 640, and then down here, that's a pretty big drop, 508. But yeah, I don't see anything in between. Okay, well, now we're on the 15-minute chart, and let's take a look at what's happened when we've had our RSI movements. This one dropped. This would have triggered here on the short side. I think this is one that one can short, I'm not sure. But yeah, 7% move, that's really good. Hasn't dropped below 30 since Friday. So Doesn't mean it won't. We got pretty close here. And you can do, yeah, this is a good point. Sometimes if it don't drop all the way to 30, I mean, there's nothing, set in stone about the 30. You can go 35 if you want. It's a little riskier, but let's say we have multiple times where it goes, down to 35, but not quite to 30, then you might want to use 35 as your lower value. So for example, on this one, since it's mostly trending up, our alert would be entering the channel 70 and then like 35 once per bar close. And this is our buddy coin crawler. Click create. And you can see how this is up above that 30 value. So this would have triggered, though not a good trade yet. Would have caught this one here too, back on Friday, and had a bit really good, eventually a good trade. So that's how that works. Any questions on Buddy Coin Crawler, the XBS trade, or anything else that we've talked about? Okay, you guys aren't as chatty as I thought. No worries. Well, I'll stop the recording here. If you're watching on that, I appreciate that. Please check out the opportunities in the pinned comment. They help fund the channel. And if you're here for Carbon, Kevin has a Zoom call at 5 regarding the Platinum and overall program, so I'm not going to compete with that. But I've asked Nathan to stay a little longer because I want to talk to him about something. If you're in Carbon, you might want to hang around for that. Otherwise, I'll let you go. We'll see you on Friday, I hope.